Tony's iPhone. Tony's iPhone. This is a court setting. If you're driving, you're going to have to stop and park. Tony's iPhone. I'll turn your video camera off.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, I'm so sorry.
Good afternoon, Officer Milton. How are you?
Good afternoon. How you all doing today?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm holding on. Holding on.
All right.
Okay. We're gonna start with ACDC first.
Okay.
And I don't have the position numbers as of yet.
Okay. Let me
I
make sure that everyone is on with us, that's ready to go. Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon. The SAP reset date, please.
It's March the 11th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, there. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. Everyone on mute for me until I'm getting some feedback from somewhere. I'm not sure where. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you don't have a private attorney and wish to utilize the public defender's services. Yes, Officer Milton, who do we have first?
We're gonna start with Miss Cato. Cato.
Spell the last name for me, please. What's the-
Cato. Or the first name is Jadiuana.
Okay, Ms. Cato is position number 7. Yes, Ms. Cato, you've been charged in case 25 CR 0000931F with simple battery family violence. Is there a history? Good afternoon, Ms. Harvey.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. 2 cycles. Last arrest was for battery family violence on January 17th, 2024. That is an open case under case number 24 CR 0000396F. She is currently being supervised by pretrial for this case, and we will be doing a bond surrender today. Nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Tucker.
Good afternoon. We'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond in this case with conditions no further contact with Jamartez Sims, as well as to stay away from 914 Ridge Avenue in Atlanta. This is a dual arrest case. The co-defendant is position 34, Ms. Sims, but these facts allege that an argument over who a son can speak with led to both parties actively fighting each other. There were no visible injuries, but you did hear that this defendant has an open battery family violence case. She was given a $2,500 signature bond in that case. It was signed by Judge Law. There was a different victim in that case, but due to the fact that, she is out on bond with a battery family violence, this is simple battery family violence. We're asking for a $2,000 good bond with conditions no further contact and to stay away.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chatai. Is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My client is 23 years old. She is a lifelong resident of Georgia. She got to school as far as the 8th grade and then went on to get her GED. And currently she works in fast food. She works at a Willie's and she's worked there for a couple of months now. I would just ask the court to consider the lowest surety amount possible given the facts of this case. And also I'd like to object to no further contact and stay away. My client informs me that if she were to stay away from her home address, she would have nowhere else to go and that her child stays there.
Who is Ms. Sims to Ms. Cato?
They are siblings.
Okay. And is Ms. Sims there at ACDC as well? Officer Milton, are you with me?
No, Your Honor, I don't have a Sims over here.
Okay. Mr. Chatai, do you know if they're sisters, who do they live with?
I'm not sure exactly
Aside from
who
each
they live
other.
with. I'm not sure who else they live with. I just know that my client's name is on the lease to that address.
Okay.
And as is the other individual involved, Miss Sims.
Do we have I guess we're gonna need another attorney to represent Ms. Sims. Is Ms. Sims' attorney on the line? Do we have a conflict attorney for today? Do you know, Ms. Bridgewater? Or
I'm not sure, Your Honor, but I'll find out.
We did not have one. Ms. McLeod said that she would not be able to attend today. We tried Mr. Murphy and we did not get a call back from him. So as of now, we don't have one.
Miss
Okay.
Bridgewater, I would try for Mr. Murphy for you.
Okay.
Thank you. I can't have, I mean, it's only been since yesterday. I can't have them fighting in that house, especially if I don't know who owns the house, if they stay with one of their parents or something of that nature. So she's of age. Someone's not going to be able to go back there. Ms. Sims may not have an attorney this afternoon. So Mr. Chataya, this can be modified if you find out further information down the road. But at this point in time, it's going to be a $500 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Sims, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Given that she was being supervised by pretrial, that is going that $2,500 signature bond is going to be revoked. So, good luck to you, Ms. Cato.
Next, we have Ms. Ferguson.
And again, I didn't catch the last name.
Ferguson, Ferguson.
Thank you.
It's position 13.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Ferguson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000941D with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 13 cycles total with arrests out of Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama. Last arrest was December 3rd, 2022, out of Fairburn for a DUI. No disposition was listed for this case, Your Honor. Also appears to have an open DUI case out of Hamilton, Alabama. Nothing further.
Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial with conditions no further contact with Jakari Campbell and to stay away from 7145 Magnolia Lane in Fairburn, as well as to have absolutely no alcohol or drugs on bond, and perhaps even to be subjected to random testing for alcohol. These facts allege that this defendant was intoxicated. The victim is her son. The victim just tried to stay away from her whenever she was intoxicated, but she came into his room confronting him about moving the vacuum, unplugged his game system. He left the room to try to get away, and she rushed him and hit him again, threw a vase at him, threw a wood dining chair at him, both of them breaking, causing a cut along his nose and scratches on his arms. So you've heard the facts allege intoxication from her history. You know, there's at least 2 DUIs. So I believe that this is more of alcohol-fueled violence. So we would be okay with a $2,000 signature bond only through pretrial with no drugs, no alcohol, and random testing.
Mr. Chataya?
No objection to the signature bond, Your Honor. However, I ask if we could consider going to a no further violent contact instead, seeing that the complaining witness in this case is my client's son. But also I would like to object to the stay away because my client owns the home, that she owns that address. Now, my client did inform me that the son could go to his grandfather's home if no further contact order was put in place. And the grandfather lives in Memphis, Georgia.
How old is Jakari?
19.
He's 19. Is he in school?
No, he suffered from mental illness. He was off his medication.
Okay. Were you able to speak with Jakari, Ms. Tucker?
No, we reached out to him, but we're unable to get in contact.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. I am going to have her start on a drug and alcohol evaluation and any treatment if necessary. No further violent contact with Jakari Campbell. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Ferguson.
What level was that, Judge?
That's level 1. Thank you.
And this is my last one, Your Honor, Ms. Stockton. Stockton.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stockton, position number 35. Ms. Stockton, you've been charged in case 25 CR 0000954G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor. First arrest.
Good afternoon, Ms. Allen.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I believe the PD, Mr. McLean, is requesting a breakout. The state is requesting a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, medication compliance, and no violent contact with the victim in this case, who is her mother, Charlena Stockton.
Mr. McLean, good afternoon. Given what Ms. Allen's asking for, do you need a breakout?
I was just saying, and I realized I was on mute, sorry. That recommendation obviates the need for a breakout because Ms. Stockton understands quite well. So that would be fine.
Okay, and that was a no further violent contact. Is that right, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. We spoke to Mrs. Stockton, Charlena Stockton. She's here on the Zoom today. She reported that there's a diagnosis and medication compliance is an issue. The defendant is also not attending her appointments. She reports that there have been altercations in the past, but this is the worst that it's gotten. So she's not in fear, but she wants her daughter to return home. This was an incident that was started at about 2 a.m. on the 22nd. Police responded to 2868 Argyle Drive. They met with, well, first they encountered the defendant outside. They tried to knock on the door and speak to her mother, but the door was so damaged, the deadbolt prevented officers from opening it and the mom from opening that door from inside. So they had to walk around to the back to speak to Miss Charlene. I don't know. Actually, there's no damage. I apologize. We've got two very similar cases today. Police spoke to the victim once they got to the scene. She said her daughter came home at 2 a.m. when she opened the door to her daughter, who was repeatedly banging on the door. Her daughter pushed her. She pushed her back, and in response, her daughter punched mom in the face. She had a visible swelling spot on her forehead, and they lived together there at the location. If you would call for Mrs. Stockton. Thank you.
Ms. Stockton, good afternoon. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself for me. And I'd have to swear you in if you choose to address the court. See Ms. Stockton. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you activate your camera for me, please? Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Stockton. It's my understanding that you want your daughter to be able to come back to the residence. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine with me as long as she follow the compliance rules, as into getting her the help that she needs, because I don't want to keep going back and forth with this.
Okay. Does she already have a treatment plan somewhere, ma'am?
She does, but she just doesn't follow through with it.
Okay. I'm gonna order that she is compliant with her present treatment plan. I appreciate you being here this afternoon, Ms. Stockton.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you so much.
Anything further, Mr. McLean?
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, it will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Miss Charlena Stockton. She is to stay medication compliant per her treatment plan, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, both of you, Miss Stocktons.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Let's see. Does that do it for us, Officer Milton? Okay, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Good afternoon, courtroom two. Let me go ahead and just address everyone that's there. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney this afternoon, we're providing you with the assistance of a public defender if you choose to utilize their service. Let's see, I see courtroom two that we have Miss Chancey on the line. Is this courtroom one, is that where she needs to go? Good afternoon, Miss Chancey.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon, sir.
Okay, so who I'm not sure who is in courtroom one, but is that your case, Mr. McLean?
It is, Your Honor. That's Gonzalez.
Okay, so let's go ahead and place Mr. McLean into a breakout room with Madam Interpreter and courtroom one. And courtroom two, we also have a number of private attorneys on the line this afternoon. If you're a private attorney, if you'll put your information in the chat for me. Courtroom two, if you'll check the chat and see if you can get their clients to me as soon as possible, please. I know Ms. Joffrey's on the line. And we will get to you all as quickly as we can. Who do we have in courtroom two, please?
Yeah, position number 33, Ms. Russell.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Russell. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000953J with 2 counts of criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor, first arrest.
And who's representing Ms. Russell this afternoon?
I am, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Wells.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Ms. Allen.
So, Your Honor, this is the similar case. Also, a very young defendant in front of you. Date of birth is 11/17/2007. We're asking for a $4,000 SOB through pretrial, no violent contact. We'd ask for information about school attendance, possibly a curfew is appropriate. There may need to be a cosigner, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Police were called at about 6:30 p.m. yesterday, or no, day before yesterday, February the 22nd. The location is 2915 Chattahoochee Circle in Roswell. When police responded to the location, it was in reference to a disturbance. The defendant was seen sitting outside, and the front door was damaged because of the action she had taken. Her mother was unable to answer the door, so police had to go to the rear of the residence to speak with mom. And open the door there. The deadbolt had been broken by repeated striking by this young woman. Mom reported that they argued because the young woman got upset. She wasn't allowed to go to her friend's house. Mom, as part of her punishment, turned off the Wi-Fi. This upset her daughter, who then turned off the electricity to the house. She destroyed the interior bedroom closet door of her room. When police spoke with her, she admitted causing the damage. She claimed that her mother had locked her inside a closet, which was not found to be a credible statement. Mom is Marcia Harris. She's here on the Zoom. We did speak to her today. She reported that the defendant was upset because she wasn't being allowed to do what she wants to do. She says as long as the defendant is being respectful, she's okay with her coming home, and that she'll send her to Louisiana if she needs to live with her grandmother. She also reported that nothing's ever happened like this before, Your Honor. So we'd request a curfew or either school attendance, some kind of information about what it is this young woman does for her time each day, but no further violent contact, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and that $4,000 SOB through pretrial. If you'd sound for Mrs. Harris, thank you.
Ms. Marcia Harris is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. I need for you to activate your camera and unmute yourself for me, please.
Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Harris.
Good
Can you
afternoon.
raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am?
Oh, okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What can you tell me about your daughter?
I'm not sure what made all of this transpire. She definitely has never done anything like this before. I do know that she does have an anger issue, but she's never gone to this extreme ever before. I was terrified. Her siblings are still terrified as well because they were there. They don't understand what's going on. They want to know why would she do all of that.
Okay. Do you,
It was just at a point where it was just way too much. Like she should have just stopped. And you see only one time that the cops came. The cops came twice for the same
okay.
issue. So this took place hours, like the whole day. And all I told her to do was just to go to her room and stop talking to me. So this was the whole day that she was acting irate.
Okay. Is she in school?
Yes, she does go to school. She goes to Alpharetta High School.
What grade is she in?
11th.
She doing any after school activities?
No, and she doesn't have a job right now.
Do you want her back in your household?
She can come back as long as she don't act up. As soon as she acts up, she is leaving my house. She won't have any electronics, no cell phone, no tablet. The only electronics she can have is her Chromebook from school. So if she can live without her phone, that's fine. If she has a problem with it, we might as well make arrangements to go ahead and send her away. Because I fear for my life and for my young kids' lives, because she kept telling me, "Oh, you got a warrant, you're going to jail. I'm going to send you to jail." So if you don't even care about your parent and your younger siblings' livelihood, no.
Okay. I heard something about her father being able to take
He's
her.
in
Is that
jail. No, he's in jail.
okay?
He's in Forsyth County. So it's me and or she can go to Louisiana. And if she even raises her voice with me, she's going to Louisiana. Period.
Okay.
Like we're not going to do this anymore. This was way too much.
Who's in Louisiana?
Her grandparents.
Okay. All right, Miss Harris. Thank you for being here this afternoon. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it sounds like there's a real concern here. And although the defendant may be welcome back in the home, that doesn't sound like a workable situation. We would request maybe to hold this and have a breakout with the PD.
No objection to that.
Okay. Um, so, Miss Marcia Harris, if you'll stay on the line with me, we've got a big calendar today, so it will be a couple of hours before we can get back to this case. Are you able to hang on the line that long for me, Miss Harris?
And so you want me to just stay on the Zoom the whole time or check back in or what?
What I would like for you to do is I would like for you to get in touch with her grandparents and see if that's a viable alternative.
It is. I've already talked with him.
Okay.
I've already made arrangements if she's not going to act right. I've already made arrangements.
Okay, so we're making a determination this afternoon. It's not going to be an if she is able to
Okay.
situation. Okay, you sound as though you and your children that are in the household have some fear of her at this point. So we're going to have to make additional arrangements
Okay.
until we can work all this out. So
Okay.
I'm going to require that are her grandparents able to come here and pick her up?
We could figure something out.
Okay, well,
I'll get in touch with her.
I'm gonna have to have her released to someone.
Okay.
And it's gonna have to be someone besides you.
Okay.
So,
She
um,
does. We do have family out here, so if I need to get her released to her, and she gets on the bus to go to Shreveport, we can make that happen as well. I can get her a Greyhound ticket today.
okay, and who is it that would be able to pick her up?
I have a cousin that lives there, Jacretia Lee J.
Can you spell that name for me?
It's Jac Cresha. Last name is Leejay, Leejay.
Okay. Ms. Wills, would it be all right with you? I will give her a signature bond, but she is to be released to this Miss Lee J, and she is to go to live with her grandparents. With her grandparents. Ms. Wills?
I don't have an objection to that. I mean, I don't know how much power or control I have over these arrangements. I did speak with my client as well as her mother, just about the risks in her returning, and she is so young. I don't want her to find herself in more criminal trouble than she's already in. So I would have no objection to that, Your Honor.
Okay. What are her grandparents' names, Ms. Harris?
Martha, Martha. Last name is Harris.
Okay. And where exactly does she live?
I can give you the address.
Just the
The
city and
city, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay, so your daughter is to be picked up by Miss Lee J. She is to be transported to her grandparent, Miss Harris in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay.
Okay, so it'll be a $2,000 signature bond on each count, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond. Through pretrial level 1. I want her to, once she gets to Shreveport, to enroll in high school.
Okay.
She is to have a curfew. She is to be in by 9 p.m. and she is to stay in until 6 a.m. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Okay, that's fair.
And
Okay.
Your Honor, I would just ask if Miss Harris wouldn't mind putting the address in the chat so I can go ahead and update her address in the system so that doesn't get lost in translation, so she receives notices for court moving forward.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bridgewater, do you have everything you need?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you for being here, Ms. Harris.
No
Anything else?
problem.
Anything
No.
else for Ms. Kaylin Russell? All right, thank you all. Who do we have next?
We have position number 11, Mr. Ikufu.
Good afternoon, Mr. Akufu. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000939B with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor. First arrest.
Yes, Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial with conditions no further violent contact with the victim, Jade Caesar. The facts allege that this defendant and victim were arguing when the defendant aggressively snatched her phone, demanded she unlocked it. He then pushed her and swung at her with both fists. Ultimately, she suffered several bruises on her arms and face, including a black eye. We were able to speak with this victim. She confirmed they're not in a relationship, they don't live together, they have no children. But they have had altercations in the past. This is just the worst one that it has ever gotten. So she did let us know she wants to continue contact based on his lack of history. We are going to ask for that $2,500 signature bond with no further violent contact. She let us know she would be on the Zoom if Jade Caesar is on.
Caesar, if you're on and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I don't see her, Ms. Tucker. Good afternoon, Ms. Smith.
Good afternoon, Judge. Yolanda Smith on behalf of Mr. Ikufu. I just wanted to make the court aware that Mr. Ikufu is gainfully employed with Ryder Systems, Inc. as an HR specialist. He recently obtained his master's degree from Louisiana State University in Human Resources Management. As the state indicated, the parties were involved in a relationship or were in a relationship, but Mr. Ikufu has no further contact with her since they broke up. So we would be asking that he be released on a signature bond.
Okay. And such, $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Miss Caesar. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Kufu.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
Attorney Payne, I don't know if we have a way to have a breakout room with you and Mr. Belton, but I'm sure that you can call courtroom 2. I can see if we can make him available in courtroom 2 so you can speak to him by phone possibly.
Okay, that's fine.
With that, okay. Courtroom 2, Attorney Payne would like to speak with her client. If you have him there, let me. Mr. Belton.
Yeah, on that phone. He's here. He's going to the phone now.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And do you have the number, Ms. Payne?
I don't. Can you put it in the chat, please, Your Honor?
Okay, can I have someone, or can we just give her the number? Courtroom
22052. 22060. I'm sorry, 22060. That's the extension. You need the whole thing.
What's the full number?
404 612 2060.
Okay.
Can we have
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The breakout room for the other Spanish speaking person
yes
is in courtroom 1, waiting to be put in a breakout session.
Okay, I thought we'd already done that. Have we? Did you go?
I declined. I declined it since I was in that other hearing, and so I just need to be
okay, that's
reinvited
you,
back.
Ms. Wills. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I thought it was.
That's
Mr.
why I was trying to
McClellan's
get
case.
her to know. Yeah, I'm sorry, Judge. This is Miss Lewis. I was trying to help out Miss Grace. Miss Grace, you may have to end up closing out that
Closing it
room
out. Yes.
and put everybody back in there.
Yes, thanks, Ms. Lewis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went in there, but the other client was in there, but not Mr. Gonzalez. So Callie Wills has Mr. Lemus. Lemus.
Yes, it's Kaylee, and yeah, I already put the request in to have a breakout room. I'm just waiting.
Okay.
He had declined the first offer, so I just need to be invited back.
Okay, and courtroom 2, do we have Mr. Etheridge there?
Mr. Etheridge, he was coming from he bonded out. He bonded out. I just got word he bonded out.
Oh, okay. So did you know that, Ms. Joffrey?
As of an hour or so ago, he was still in, but he may be in the process of the book out process, and that may be where he is.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't, that I wasn't keeping you if it's not necessary.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, Judge, all his paperwork is in central control, so he's about to get processed out.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you. That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
You too.
Who do we have next?
We have position number 5, Mr. Carr.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carr. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000928J with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 8 cycles. Last arrest November 23rd, 2024, out of Fulton County for theft by shoplifting. On probation for theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass. Sentenced September 12th, 2024 to 12 months probation. There's a second probation case for theft by shoplifting, sentenced November 27th, 2024, 6 months probation. Also an open theft by shoplifting case out of Atlanta. Nothing further.
Something?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $1,500 good bond with the condition to stay away from the target at 3535 Peachtree Road, Atlanta. The facts allege that this defendant returned to Target after being CT'd from there You also heard the history. He's got 8 arrests. Every single arrest besides this one is for shoplifting. And you've heard there's at least 4 out of just the past year. So based on that, I think the risk of reoffense is very high. I do not recommend a signature bond. I'm asking for that $1,500 good bond with a stay away.
Whose case is this?
It's my case, Your Honor.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to ask this court to consider the lowest surety amount possible to secure my client's return. My client currently does not work, but he worked at Kroger in retail for the past 2 years, and he got through school as far as the 10th grade. And my client informs me that he resides at 720 Magna Carta Drive. So he does have a residence, I believe, where he can get mail.
Okay. I think there might be something going on with Mr. Carr. I want him to have a social worker visit to assess for BHET. So it'll be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Target on Peachtree Road. Social worker visit to assess for BHET. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If you all will report back to me at the SAP calendar on March 11th. And if he's still in custody, I'll take another look at it. Okay, let's see if we can get him some help if he needs it. Good luck to you, Mr. Carr.
Go stand by the door. Next, we'll go at position number 22, Ms. Lee.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lee. You have been charged in case number 25 CR 0009348 with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. Three cycles. Last arrest December 29th, 2024 out of East Point, Georgia for 2 counts of simple assault. That is open under case number 24 CR 008-409H. She is currently being supervised by a pretrial for this case, Your Honor, and we will be doing a bond settlement today. Nothing further.
That's my case, Your Honor. That's a bond you issued at the end of December 2024. It's a $2,000 SOB through pretrial level 1. This case happened yesterday, the 23rd of February at about 4:30 p.m. The location is the Target at 375 18th Street Northwest. The defendant is on surveillance, taking $170 worth of clothing items at the Target there and putting them into her bag, a tote, and then leaving, passing all points of sale before she was encountered on the escalator, I believe, leaving by loss prevention. Officers had opportunity to view the surveillance, and that was obtained. She was criminally trespassed and then arrested. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, Your Honor, to stay away from that location, 375 18th Street Northwest. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Mr. McLaren.
Oh yeah, that's the Target. Thank you. Your Honor, Miss Sierra Lee has, of course, the other case. She's 27. Her address is in Warner Robins, Georgia, because she lives with a cousin. She's lived in Georgia for several months now, about a half a year. She's from Kissimmee, Florida, originally. She did go to high school, some college, high school in Arizona, some college in LA, California. But she's a Georgian now because she's got the local ties with the cousin that's only 90 miles away. She's been working in Roswell. I guess that's her mail address, really. She's been working in Roswell, Georgia at the LA Fitness as the assistant GM and donuts prior to that. So she's industrious. On here exactly, but we would ask the court consider giving her a single bond because that is a real Warner Robins mailing address. But we would ask the court to consider giving her a signature bond, and we might need a little visit to talk to her.
Okay, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Target on 18th Street. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Given that the other bond is being surrendered that she's on supervision for, Ms. Bridgewater, can you place both these cases on that SAP calendar?
Okay,
On
what's
the,
that other
on
number?
the 11th, it's 24CR008409H.
Oh, and may I tell her, how much is the bond on that now?
Told us 2,000 was a $2,000 signature bond that was given by me.
This one's that on?
So that's now a 2,000 surety?
Yes.
Okay. I'll let her know if she has any questions. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bridgewater, do you have everything you need?
I do, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you, Ms. Lee. Who do we have next?
We'll go with position number 6, Mr. Cartwright.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cartwright. You have been charged in case 25CR000929H with battery. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor. Two cycles. Last arrest was August 12th, 2023, out of Fulton County for terroristic threats. That case was dismissed, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond with condition no further contact with Maximilian Frederick and to stay away from 1825 Windsor Drive in Atlanta. This victim is siblings with the defendant and they live together. The victim got home, wanted to take a shower, but the defendant was in the bathroom. The defendant then opened the door and attacked him with closed fist, causing visible injuries to his right eye. There was an independent witness at the scene who confirmed that he opened the door and punched first. I'm asking for a good bond in this case and not a signature bond. While there's no convictions on his history, you heard there was a terroristic threat felony level in 2023 and a simple battery family violence out of 2020 that was null-prossed. But for those reasons, we are asking for a $2,000 good bond with condition no further contact and stay away.
If Mr. Frederick is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
All right, it's 22.
Hold on, Mr. Cartwright. Put your hand down. I see you there. I'll have you, if you need to speak with your lawyer, I'll let you do that. Maximilian Frederick.
We attempted to call him, never got through.
Thank you. Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. I would ask this court to consider the lowest surety amount that would secure my client's return and to protect public safety. My client is 23. According to his PSA, he has no failures to appear nor any convictions on his record. He's been a Georgia resident for almost his entire life. He is currently in training at Waffle House. He started last month, and he's also a daytime stock option trader. He graduated from high school. And my understanding is that the home belongs to his mother. And I would like to ask this court to consider a no further violent contact order instead of a no further contact and stay away order. My client informed me that he would have no other place to live if he were asked to stay away.
Does his brother live at that location as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And is his mother's home?
Yes.
And I take it that you haven't spoken with either the mother or the brother.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cartwright, do you need to speak with Mr. Chataya before? I don't want you to say anything that's going to get you in any further trouble. I'm happy to let you speak with him if you need to speak with him privately, before I issue you a bond on this matter. Do you need to speak with him privately?
I paid my bail already. They said I was in the process of doing that, and it was waiting on that. I paid it at 9 o'clock last night, and that's what I paid my bail for bond, or however it goes. And with the terroristic threat, that's with my twin brother.
Okay, let's not talk about the terroristic threats, okay? All right. I'm not sure if what he's telling me is correct or not. I was going to give him a signature bond anyway, so let me just go ahead and give him the signature bond. And if there's something else going on, then I just don't want him staying in there if he's not already bonded out. So it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, no further contact with, at this point, with Maximilian Frederick. Stay away from the incident location. You can go back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Chataya, if you hear from his brother or from his mother regarding the living situations and want to modify the bond, I'd be happy to do that, but I'm not going to do that until we hear from at least Mr. Frederick in the matter. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I interject while we're between this?
Yes, Mr. McLean.
Can somebody check and see if Zachariah Pinson with a P has already made his bond?
He's in the courtroom.
When I called his family, they said they've already made the bond, so I just want to check on the progress of that.
I can yeah, I'll check it out.
Thanks.
All right.
And do we have the interpreter in the right breakout room? I have a note from Miss Wills that the interpreter's not in her breakout room.
Yes, Judge, they're in there now.
Okay, thank you. All right, who do we have next?
We have position number 3, Mr. Belton.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Belton. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000925B with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Miss Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. Three cycles out of South Carolina. Last arrest was in 2014 for failure to return license plate and driver's license after a suspension. That was a conviction. There's a 2012 conviction for driving under suspension out of South Carolina, and nothing further.
Yes, Miss Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 signature bond with conditions no further contact with Carly Lewis and to stay away from 721 Longleaf Drive in Atlanta. These facts allege that an argument over coming and going led to this defendant striking the victim in the chin, this victim who he's married to. Then he threw her 2 cell phones to the ground and there were no visible injuries. We did speak with this victim, but very briefly, she did not indicate that she wanted to be involved in this case, but if we could sound for her, Carly Lewis.
If Miss Lewis is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Yes, Miss Payne.
Your Honor, good afternoon. So Mr. Belton, he's 35 years old. He has been in Georgia for about 2.5 years. He has a business here with his office here. As you heard, he has 2 previous license infractions, but nothing violent, no issue with that. So we do not have an objection to the $2,000 bond amount. However, the location of the alleged incident, the lease is solely in his name. And so we would, and the lease is ending soon. So we would ask that he's allowed to return to retrieve his items. He has various property items there still, so that way he can retrieve his items and be able to vacate the premises because the lease is up soon.
Okay. And as far as Miss Lewis goes, what was have you spoken with her, Miss Tucker?
Our victim advocate did speak with her, Miss Cheney.
And what was her request as far as contact?
She did not give one. She said she was around people, couldn't talk about the case at the time.
Okay. And are you? Yes, Miss Payne.
When my client was arrested, he had just showed up to the residence. There was never an altercation. We believe this is a retaliation because she was served with the divorce that same day. However, there was never an incident. There was never any, as you heard, there's no visible injuries. There's no witnesses. Him and her had no contact at all until he showed up to get his items and the police were already there taking a report.
Okay, so I'll give him the ability to go back with the officers to retrieve any belongings that he has there. Would that suffice, Ms. Payne?
William?
Okay, so he needs to move out the premises. So would he have to have an officer accompany him as many times as he needs, or?
If Miss Lewis is at the location, I don't want them, I'm gonna order that they have no further contact.
Right.
So I think it would be best for him if he has either someone go get his things for him. If he goes himself, I'm gonna have him go, he can only go with an officer. I'll have him go with an officer as many times as he needs to, but if he can't have someone else retrieve his belongings, he's gonna have to go there with an officer.
Okay.
Okay, so it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Lewis. Stay away from the Longleaf Drive address. He can go back to that address as many times as he needs to retrieve his belongings, but he has to have an officer along with him as he retrieves those belongings. Or he can have a third party retrieve the belongings for him. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Anything further for Mr. Belton? All right, good luck to you, Mr. Belton. You have a good afternoon, Ms. Payne.
Thank you.
Next, we have position number 8, Mr. Colton.
Good afternoon, Mr. Colton. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000935E with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 30 cycles. Last arrest was 2/10/25. For theft by shoplifting out of Fulton County. No disposition was listed, Your Honor. Appears to be open. Also appears to be on probation for criminal trespass, sentenced May 2nd, 2024 to 12 months probation. In addition, there's convictions from 2024 for theft by shoplifting, 2018 simple battery, family violence, 2017 theft by receiving stolen property. At least 2 FTAs and 3 probation violations in the history as well, Your Honor, and nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $3,000 good bond with condition to stay away from the Publix at 950 West Peachtree Street, Atlanta. The facts allege that he took some items from the store, bypassed self-checkout without scanning or paying for any of the items. But his history is what's most alarming. You did hear those 2 FTAs in 2024, 2023. He's also got at least 5 theft by shoplifting arrests in the past 2 years, and the rest of his history goes all the way back to 2007. It's just riddled with thefts. So for the risk of reoffense while out on bond, as well as that risk of not appearing, we're asking for that $3,000 good bond with a stay away from the Publix.
Thank you, Mr. Chitaya.
Yes, Your Honor. I ask for the lowest surety amount that will secure his return. My client is 34 years old. He's a lifelong resident of Georgia. He got his GED, and for about the past year, maybe before that, he worked at a construction company called Trojan Labor. He works in construction, and he also informed me that he is a certified welder.
Right, it'll be a $2,000 good bond. Stay away from the Publix on West Peachtree Street. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Colton.
Okay.
Who do we have next?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Doing 2 things at once. Next, we have position number 27, Mr. Mendez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mendez Gallegos. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000957F with possession of a pistol or a revolver by a person under 18 years of age, possession of alcoholic beverage by a person below the legal age, possession of an open alcohol container, driving without a valid license, and failure to signal lane change or turn. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor, first arrest.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from yesterday at about 2 in the afternoon. Police in East Point observed the defendant around the area of Cleveland Avenue and Randall. Executed an improper lane change at the intersection there. A traffic stop was initiated. Police made contact with the defendant who provided a license to them, which is a permit requiring he be accompanied by someone 21 or older. He was the only person in the vehicle driving. There was a handgun in between the seat where he was sitting, loaded with 2 rounds. It was a Glock 43 semi-automatic. Search incident to arrest. Their a book bag in the back seat, I believe, of the vehicle had an open container of tequila. The defendant in front of you is not old enough to carry a firearm or be in possession of alcohol. He did not have the correct license and was observed violating the traffic rules. We're asking for a $10,000 surety, Your Honor. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, no driving without the proper licenses and registrations. Based on this young man's age, it sounds like, as far as the state's concerned, a cosigner would be appropriate, or at least some information regarding what it is this young man's doing with his day. And we would request that your order also include a surrender of all firearms. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, can we find out if his family is on Zoom with us?
Yes, if you can tell me who you want to sound for.
Martin Mendez and Erica Gallegos.
Either of those parties on the line with us? I see an Edwin here.
Could be a sibling, I don't know.
If this is someone related to him, yeah, who's on the line under Edwin here? Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, this is my dad.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Tell me your name.
Martin Mendez. His name is Martin Mendez.
Okay, yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Mendez. Thank you for being here. Okay, we have him on the line, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mendez, make sure was part of our hearing today. I take it from, I understand from my client, Josu. Well, I'm mangling his first name. I'm sorry. He's a honor at Skyview High School in College Park. That's the high school that's very near 285 at Old National, about a block or 2 away. I've been to that high school. We've had some clients from there before. It is a continuation type alternative high school, I believe. Your Honor, he works with his dad in construction. They do concrete makers. He helps his dad with the blueprints and with all kinds of labor issues.
Hold on right there.
The family, I believe, would like to have him home and supervise him. And so therefore, I would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond with the appropriate conditions. And we can perhaps ask Mr. Mendez, is Erica Gallegos also on?
Yeah,
Mr.
she's in a different car. You want me to get her?
Well, as long as the car's not moving.
Okay, I'll try to go get her. Give me 1 second.
Okay. But Your Honor, the family's available to ask any questions about what he's doing during the day. My understanding is he was returning to his actual return day was going to be today, to the 10th grade at Skyview High School. I think he's been out for a bit.
Okay, so is the father still there?
Yes, he's in the driver's seat there.
Okay, can you,
He's coming back. He want to go get Erica.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I noticed the car, and thank goodness the car was not moving, so I
Oh,
noticed
she's
that.
right here. Yes.
okay, and are you, Mr. Mendez's mother?
No, wife. Oh. Yeah, yeah. The mother, yes.
Okay, so does he live with you?
Yes.
Okay, well, who's answering my question there?
I'm his cousin.
Okay, can she answer my question?
Que se vive tu hijo contigo. Sí. Yes.
Okay, and is he in high school?
He's done high school. He was supposed to start today actually.
Okay, is she able to come down and sign him out if I release him?
Que si puedes venir ahora por él a sacarlo de la cárcel. Sí. He said yes. Yes.
Your
Okay.
Honor, I sent the family, I talked to the family and they sent their email, and I shared that with Miss Bridgewater.
So what are you telling me, Mr. McLean? You already have the information that you're gonna need for the,
Right, we can send them, we've got their email with which to send them the form to sign and send back.
okay, and do you have their full names?
Martin Mendez, Erica with a K, Gallegos. And his last name is Mendez Gallegos with no, it's one last name of two words with no hyphen.
Okay. Let her know that I'm gonna require that he stays in school.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, what's your name?
My name's Edwin.
Okay, Edwin, let her know that I'm gonna require that he stays in school.
Okay, que se queda. Que el requerimiento que se va a quedar en la escuela, José. Okay.
He's also going to have, he's gonna have a curfew. He's gonna have to be in by 9 p.m. and he's not gonna be able to leave again until 6 a.m.
Tiene curfew a las 9 tiene que estar en la casa, a las 6 puede salir a las 6 de la mañana y a las 9 tiene que estar en la casa.
Puede salir a trabajar.
He can still work with his father, right?
What time does he leave for work?
It depends. It's no time because it's construction. They can happen any time.
Does he leave before 6 a.m.?
Yes, a veces te vas antes que las 5 6 de la mañana. Sometimes he leaves around 4, 5 o'clock. Is there any worse if he's with him in the car, in the same vehicle, driving around? Because they don't only work in state, they be out of state sometimes. But they
Your
be always
son,
together.
okay, so I want him in school right now. He's only 17 years old, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I see that he has a birthday in May, but right now he's only 17. So I want him in school until he's at least 18.
Okay, que aquí suelta que tenga que ser 18 años.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so
Your Honor,
yes,
I
Ms.
need the
Bridgewater.
correct spelling, whoever's gonna be the co-signer. I need for someone to give me that spelling.
I
I
think Mr.
can type it
McLean-
down in the chat.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, so for the possession of a pistol, it's going to be an $8,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For each of the other charges, it will be a $250 signature bond through pretrial level 2.
Okay.
Makes for a total of a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. He is to have a parental co-signer, a curfew of 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. He is to stay in school. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And if there are any firearms in that household, they're going to have to be surrendered.
Okay.
So let them know that, Edwin. They're going to have to surrender any firearms in the home that their son is staying in, okay?
Okay. Que no tengan nada de armas y nada y quieren que la manden a la escuela. Mientras.
Ajá, ¿qué necesita uno para sacarlo?
Can we buy them out today?
ID, okay.
I'm not sure when he is, call down to the jail before you go, okay? It could take up to 24 hours, all right?
Okay.
All right, good luck to
Another
y'all.
question. What would you need from
What was the
her
bond amount on that first charge?
8,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 2.
And 250 on each of all of the other ones, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that makes a total of $9,000.
Oh, you're right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck to y'all.
All right, good luck. Thank you.
Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 4, Mr. Boyd.
Good afternoon, Mr. Boyd. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000927F with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 3 cycles out of Georgia, 19 out of Florida. Last arrest was in 2014 out of Fulton County for aggravated battery, robbery, battery, and aggravated assault. There was conviction for the aggravated battery and aggravated assault. Out of Florida, a 2005 conviction for operating a vehicle without a valid license, and a 2001 aggravated assault. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond with condition no further contact with Tony Young, as well as to stay away from 3753 The Great Drive in South Fulton. This victim is this defendant's stepson, and they're living together. The facts allege that this defendant and his wife, Natasha Boyd, were arguing about family business when the victim stepped in to separate them. Then the victim attempted to walk down the stairs, but the defendant pinned him up against the wall and pushed his face away with an open hand, and the victim suffered sizable abrasions on both of his forearms from being pinned. We were able to speak with this victim. He confirmed he's the stepson, they live together, confirmed the events in the warrant, confirmed his injuries. He said nothing like this has happened before, but he doesn't want it to ever happen again. He wants no contact, and he wants him to stay away from the residence. He also spoke with his mother, Miss Boyd, who was there, and says that she does not intend to have any contact with him as well. So we are asking for that $2,000 good bond with conditions no further contact at all with Tony Young, and to stay away from that location in South Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Chitaya.
And I apologies. He did say he may be on the Zoom, so if we could sound for Tony Young.
Mr. Young is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity.
Tony is actually, he had to work, so this is Natasha. Natasha Young, Boyd, his mother.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Boyd. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to come on camera for me, please. Yes, ma'am. And you're pulled over to the side?
I am, yes, I'm not
Okay.
driving. I'm not driving.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, Ms. Boyd. What would you like to tell the court?
Everything that the person just said, I fully support. I don't want to prohibit him from being free. I just don't want him to have any contact with myself or my sons.
Okay. Does he have anything at the Great Drive residence that he'll need to retrieve?
He does, but if he can have a police escort, that would be fine with me.
Okay. I appreciate you being here this afternoon, Ms. Boyd. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yes, Mr. Chitaria.
Yes, Your Honor. I would ask this court to consider the lowest possible surety amount for this case. Mr. Boyd is 50 years old. He's been a Georgia resident for the past 18 to 19 years. He informs me that he is a certified commercial driver. He works as an independent contractor for a logistics company, and that he's done this for the past 5 years. Furthermore, in terms of schooling, he has a high school diploma. Now, in terms of the no further contact and stay away, my client informs me that the address belongs to him, and that if necessary, he can have it arranged so that his stepson lives with Miss Ebony Zachary, or Ebony Pugh, who is my client's first cousin. My client informs me that he can have that kind of arrangement if it's necessary to have no further contact with the stepson.
Okay, well, it sounds to me like the stepson and Ms. Boyd are living at the Great Drive address. So until they need to, I'm going to allow them to remain at that address. And if Mr. Young needs to take some type of other further action, then he'll have to do that through another court. But as far as this bond goes, it will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. no further contact with Mr. Young, no further contact with Ms. Boyd, stay away from the Great Drive address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And good luck to you, Mr. Boyd. You as well, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Position 16 and 17, Mr. Glaze.
Your Honor, we still got to do the breakout for this other Spanish interpreter for Mr. Gonzalez, who's the attorney.
Okay, is this Mr. McLean's client?
The current person sitting there, I don't think so. I didn't.
It
hear.
is. It is. I spoke with Mr. Limas and that is not him. That is the other client.
Okay.
This is
So
Gonzalez.
this is Gonzalez, Mr. McLean. Is that your client?
Mr. Gonzalez is mine. Yes, that's true.
Okay, so let's place Mr. McLean, Ms. Chancey, and courtroom 1 back into a breakout room, please.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. And who's representing Mr. Glass?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Good afternoon, Mr. Glass. You have been charged.
This is Mr. Glaze, sir.
Oh, Mr. Glaze, I'm sorry. Is that who represents Mr. Glaze?
I represent Mr. Glaze.
Oh, as well. Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Glaze. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000945E with theft by shoplifting, and in case 25 CR 0000946E with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor. 11 cycles. Last arrest October 12th, 2024 with the Marta Police Department for simple assault. There was a conviction. In addition, there are convictions from 2024 for theft by shoplifting, 2023 criminal trespass, 2017 criminal trespass, 2015 willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Also appears to have a hold out of Clayton County. And nothing further.
Can we get Ms. Chancey into the breakout room, please? Oh, there she goes. Yes, Ms. Tucker.
Apologies. On position 16, we're asking for a $1,000 good bond with condition to stay away from the CVS at 2907 Main Street in East Point. And on position 17, we're asking for an additional $1,000 good bond with a stay away from that exact same location. Position 16, the facts allege that in April of last year, he took candy and soda from CVS, put them in his pants, and left without paying. And then in position 17, it happened just 2 days ago. He was back at that same CVS after already receiving a CT warning to not return. So he knew he shouldn't have been there. You did hear quite a few arrests and convictions in the history, including I noted an FTA from 2019. So for that reason, we're asking for a $1,000 good bond on each case, as well as a stay away from that CVS location.
Ms. Wells.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask for a signature bond. Neither of these offenses are violent in nature. The first case is dated back to April of last year. My client reports that he does have a high school diploma. He's a native of Georgia. He also has several children that he takes care of as well. He stated that he was working prior to his arrest and does carpentry as well as some trucking as also. And so with that, I would just request again a signature bond. He does have limited funds and he will qualify for our services.
Mr. Glaze, I'm going to give you the opportunity to get out, but if you go back to that CVS on Main Street in East Point, these bonds are going to be revoked and you're going to be right back where you are, okay? It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 for each offense. Stay away from that CVS on Main Street at East Point. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, if you go back to that CVS, you're gonna be right back where you are.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 36, Mr. Winbush. I got a question. Oh, Winbush.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wimbush. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000955F with 3 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers and disorderly conduct. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
No, Your Honor. First arrest also appears to have a hold out of Clayton County. Nothing.
Sally?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 23rd of February. This took place at the MARTA station in Midtown, specifically 41 10th Street. Officers observed the defendant to be asleep on a bench there inside the location. They approached him, woke him up. He became irate, started screaming and yelling at patrons walking by, causing a disturbance. He took a bottle of alcohol and slammed it on the floor, creating a safety issue. When police officers went to detain him, he actively resisted. He took a fighting stance. He started kicking at officers and pulling away. We'd ask for a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Stay away from MARTA and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
At 41 10th Street, that's MARTA?
It's the Midtown station.
Okay, thank you.
No objection to a signature bond, Your Honor.
Does he need some assistance that a social worker can help him with, Ms. Wills?
Not when I spoke with him, based on my conversation, I do not believe that's necessary at this time. But we did talk about upon his release, there were some things that he already had planned to do because he said this incident was kind of a wake-up call for him as well. So he already has a plan in place for when he is released, but he does live with his parents and provided me with that address.
Okay, thank you. As such, for each count, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from 41 10th Street, the MARTA there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Wimbush.
Your Honor, he has 4 charges.
Yes, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial on each charge makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial. Is that not what I said?
No, you said, thank you, I got it.
Okay. Your client has a question, Ms. Wills.
Mr. Wimbush, you were given a signature bond, so you don't have to pay any money to get out. You'll just be taken to the foreign county where you have the hold.
Okay. My question was, so with the MARTA, the officers that I spoke to, they said that I could put an appeal out for taking the MARTA because that is my way of transportation for work.
Okay, so Mr. Wimbush, I'll have you abide by any MARTA suspensions, okay? So if you don't have any suspensions with MARTA, then I'll allow you to use MARTA so you can get to work, all right?
They said I have up until 30 days to appeal it.
Okay, so if you do have you have to make sure that you can go back there, though. If you do have an active suspension, then you can't go back there until your appeal is heard or the suspension is dropped or the suspension expires, okay? So if you do have a stay away from MARTA, you have to make sure that you can go to MARTA before you go back there, all right?
Okay, and then I have one more question. So I don't know my mother's number by heart. I know I was about to get transferred to Clayton County for whatever hold that I have with the traffic violation or the traffic ticket, but I was just trying to see if I could get her number anyway, so I could call her when I get there and go about that process.
Ms. Wells, I don't know if you can help him with that at some point.
I'm not sure how I would be able to obtain his mother's number.
If you want to call if you wanted to call the courtroom,
Yeah, I know my mom she is on the Zoom call, so
Your mom is on the Zoom?
yeah, she was on the Zoom call.
Who was your mom?
Susan, right?
Okay, I put her out. I stopped her video because she was smoking a cigarette, Judge. I stopped her video. She probably can hear you. If you could tell her to take her cigarette off, I'll turn back on her camera.
All right, so what's her name? Is she
Susan
here?
Wright.
Miss Wright, are you with me?
She
Not
might-
smoking this, Miss Susan Wright. Miss Wright, can you hear me? You have to unmute yourself so I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Your son is requesting that you put your telephone number in the chat so that he can be able to call you, okay?
Okay, well listen, is he gonna be transferred tonight to Clayton County because I need his ID badge so he can keep his job. He do have 2 jobs. He is under a lot of stress and he's dealing with child neglect that he think, but he lives here, so he's going through a whole lot and trying to be a
Okay.
man and stand up and be a man. And I
So
don't like that. It's 3
hold on,
objects
hold on, Miss
charges.
Wright. Hold on, Miss Wright. So I've given him a signature bond, so he's going to be able to get out of here. He's going to be transferred somewhere else. What I need for you to do, so your son can talk to you, is for you to put your number in the chat so that he can call you later. Okay?
So how do I put my number in the chat?
Okay. Um, can you just give me your number? Can somebody take this number down for him?
Yes, please. 732
Okay.
580
Okay.
6536.
36. All right. If someone would give this young man his mother's number. Thank you. All right. Thank you for being here, Miss
Thank
Wright.
you. Thank you so much.
You're
I'll put
welcome.
it in the chat to the jail.
Thank you. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 15, Mr. Glass.
Good afternoon, Mr. Glass. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000942 J with simple assault, family violence, and terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history, Miss Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 56 cycles. Last arrest was January 15th of this year for a failure to appear out of Fulton County. Appears to be have an open case out of Gwinnett County for battery family violence. There's also an open case out of Mobile, Alabama for domestic violence family offense. On probation out of Fulton County for aggravated assault, sentenced September 10th, 2024, 19 years, 11 months. Also on probation for a second case out of Fulton County for aggravated assault and robbery, sentenced in 2023. On probation for aggravated stalking out of Fulton County, sentenced in 2020 to 5 years probation. On probation for aggravated battery, sentenced in 2015 to 17 years probation. In addition, Your Honor, there are convictions for simple battery, family violence, at least 4 simple battery family violence convictions, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from 2016, 2015, possession of cocaine, 2014, battery family violence, 2012, disorderly conduct and criminal trespass, and nothing further.
I see you there with your hand up, Mr. Glass. Put your hand down for now. I'll let you speak with Miss Wills if you need to. I'll give you that opportunity, okay? Yes, Miss Tucker.
Yes, Judge. We are asking for a $4,000 good bond on count 1, another $4,000 good on count 2, for a total of $8,000 good bond with condition no further contact with Alonza Simmons and to stay away from 1634 Hollywood Road, apartment A418 in Atlanta. The victim and the defendant are living together. The facts allege that an argument over a food stamp card led to this defendant threatening to kill her while he was holding a knife in his hand. The warrant didn't say that it was used offensively, but still, that is enough to cause fear in this victim, rising to the level of simple assault. While the officer was on the scene, he could hear the defendant through the phone threatening to burn their house down. So that's the basis of the terroristic threats. I'm not going to go back through this history, but you heard this history is absolutely awful and violent. Not only is it 56 positions in Georgia, but the one arrest out of Alabama is still pending. That's a domestic violence charge that he's failed to appear for out of Alabama. So between all of the violence in the history, as well as the violence in these facts, we are asking for that total $8,000 good bond with no further contact and stay away. We did attempt to call the victim. We were unable to leave a message. Her voicemail was full. But if we could sound for her in case she found the link, it's Alonza Simmons.
If Ms. Simmons is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Okay, Ms. Wills, do you need to speak with him before you
He's
speak
very
to me?
loquacious. If I could just make my argument, and then if he has questions after that, I'll gladly speak with him.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So Mr. Glass, he is 46 years old. He is a native of Georgia. He's currently unemployed, but he does have a high school diploma. He also reports that he was a participant in the Fulton County Felony Drug Court, and still is a participant. He does suffer from several diagnoses as well. And he stated that he was unable to work because as part of being in the drug court program, he was sentenced to having an ankle monitor. But he does state that he is done with his relationship that is not healthy or beneficial to him. This alleged victim did actually stab Mr. Glass just last month. He's still healing from that. And so this incident did arise from her first going back for the knife, or a knife, which was larger than the knife that she used to stab him the first time. So he does have somewhere else to go. We would ask for a one-time escort, and I would ask, if not a signature bond, then the lowest bond amount that you're willing to give Mr. Glass.
Okay. For the simple assault, it will be a $2,000 good bond. For the terroristic threats, $1,000 good bond. Makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Simmons. Stay away from the Hollywood Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Glass.
May I say something, Your Honor?
You have a right to remain silent, Mr. Glass. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm sure that Ms. Wills would advise you that this isn't the right time for you to speak, but if you have a question that's about the bond, then I'm sure that she's happy to entertain that. If it has to do with the facts of the situation or anything like that, you'll get your opportunity at a later date. This is just a bond hearing to express how you feel about that, okay? I just don't want you to get in any more trouble than what you're already in. All right.
I knew about it in the first place. They told me I had one charge, Your Honor. And guess what? I did not put my hands on her. And she stated that. She said that in front of that video cam. I did not do that. I'm in drug court. I look at this jail every day, every morning when I'm in drug court. I'm mental health, but that's no excuse I'm making for myself because I'm a man and I don't need no excuses. All I need to do is comply and do the right thing, which I have been doing. And she stabbed me before.
Mr. Glass,
like
I said, you'll get your opportunity at a later date to come back and make your case, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir.
We can go to South Annex.
Okay, who do we have at the South Annex?
Say your name. Jordan Cook.
Mr. Cook? Okay, Jordan Cook is position number 9. Good afternoon, Mr. Cook. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000936C with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers and loitering and prowling. This is your case, Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Harvey?
He has one cycle, Your Honor. That arrest was from June 15th, 2024, out of Cedartown, Georgia, for willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and interference with government property. No disposition was listed for that case, Your Honor. It appears to be open and nothing further.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge. We're asking for a $1,500 good bond on the obstruction with $1,000 good bond on the loitering for a total of $2,500, as well as to stay away from 955 Memorial Drive in Atlanta. These facts allege that officers were responding to a call about a bunch of juveniles outside the movie theater that pulled a gun on the caller. When the officers arrived, they all started to run away. This defendant was eventually detained. There was a gun found. It was found on a co-defendant, not on this defendant. But the fact that they were all hanging around in the same place, pulling a gun on a random individual in front of a movie theater is very alarming. And the fact that he ran and has a prior for obstruction leads me to argue that he is a flight risk. So for those reasons, we're asking for that $2,500 total good bond with a stay away from this location.
Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 17 years old. I got in touch with his mother, Miss Jessica Cook, and I sent her the Zoom link to the email that she gave me. I was wondering if you could sound for her, see if she's here.
Ms. Jessica Cook is on the line. Now is your opportunity to address the court. I don't believe that she's with us, Mr. Chataya.
All right. Let's see. Apart from that, my client is 17. He's lived in Georgia for the past 8 years, I believe. He's a junior in high school. I think the name of the high school he gave me was Holbrook Jackson High School here in Atlanta. He currently does not work. And the incident didn't take place at his home, of course. So I would like to ask, given my client's age and the fact that according to the PSA, he has no failures to appear, nor any convictions, I'd like to ask this court to consider the possibility of a signature bond.
Okay. Did you speak with Ms. Cook?
I did. She gave me her email. I sent her the Zoom link to the email address she gave me, and she's not here.
Okay. Did you request that let her know that since he's 17 that she is going to have to be a co-signer if I'm going to let her out? Let him out?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I told Ms. Cook that. She said she could co-sign Mr. Cook out of jail. It's just, she's not at the Zoom meeting now, but I do have her email address. I can try calling her again and just verifying that I did get the correct that is the correct email address that she gave me, and I can try to have her co-sign. But she did confirm that she would be willing and able to do so.
Okay. What grade is Jordan in?
He's a junior in high school.
He's only going to be able to get out with the parental co-signer. Presumably that's going to be with Miss Jessica Cook. I take it that's Jessica Cook. All right. For the obstruction, it'll be a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the loitering, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. He's to have a parental co-signer of Miss Jessica Cook. He is to stay in school. He's to have a curfew. He's to be in by 9 p.m. and can't leave until 6 a.m. He's to stay away from 955 Memorial Drive. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Judge. Can you check? Have someone check? It looks like someone may have posted his bond.
Oh, okay. So it appears that he's already, okay.
I'm showing
So,
it posted today.
I could double
okay,
check
and
it now, Judge.
all right. So if that did not post, then this will be the bond.
That's correct.
All right.
He did post bond, Judge. We're free at last bonding company.
Okay. All right.
$1,000. I mean, not 1,000, I'm sorry. What, let me see what the amount was. Total of $1,600.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Jordan Cook.
You
Who do we
too.
got next?
The next one, we're waiting for Mr. McLean to come back. We have a couple of conflicts, but we don't have a conflict attorney. We couldn't get one available today.
Okay, let's take the conflicts so I can at least speak to them. So how many conflicts do we have, and who do we?
We have two. Two of them need we have three. Two of them need an interpreter. What's the language? I'm sorry. Wolof.
Yeah, I can translate if you want.
I mean, one can speak pretty good English. One.
We are from the same country. They just are new here. We are all in the same situation.
Hold on. Come in. I'll let him explain it as best he can. Come on.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Sit down.
Good afternoon, sir. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Hardy Lee.
This is position number 24.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and the two gentlemen, we are in the same situation. So they are from Africa. They came to see me in my place, and that's where the stuff happened. But they came to see me also because they couldn't speak English. So I am the one who interpret everything for them. So
Okay. So, Mr. Lee, what if we got you an interpreter, what language would we need to get?
No, me, I don't need an interpreter. I said they need, but I can interpret for them because that's why we work together for interpreting and taking care of their issues in English.
Okay, well, I might need an interpreter because I'm not understanding what you're telling me. So the interpreter might be for my benefit, so that we can all make sure that we understand what you're trying to say to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need a Wolof interpreter in Wolof. Me, I don't need an interpreter. I can speak clearly to you.
Okay. And as I said, if I were to get an interpreter, what language would that interpreter need to interpret?
Wolof. W-O-L-O-F.
Okay. Let me hear a bit about this first. Before Mr. Lee, we don't have an attorney here we don't have a conflict attorney to represent you today. So you can I can either reschedule you for tomorrow when I can have an interpreter here and when I can have an attorney for you, or we can proceed today if you want to represent yourself. What would you like to do?
I mean, for me, I can represent myself. I can do that. I've been here for 30 years.
Okay, so you have a right to remain silent. Mr. Lee, anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We do not have a conflict attorney to represent you today. It's my understanding that you would like to represent yourself for these proceedings. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lee, you've been charged in case 25 CR 0000944E with 2 counts of criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 4 cycles. Last arrest was August 19th, 2019 with ICE, alien inadmissible charge. Received first offender in 2019 for forgery and identity theft fraud out of Cobb County. That case was sealed in 2024. Nothing further.
Okay, Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. All 3 defendants were identified as being present at the Chelsea Gardens apartment complex. That's 2135 Godby Road. Specifically, we're talking about Building 4, Apartment 216. Police were called to the location by the property manager, Mrs. Jackson. They also spoke with a security guard who works for Allied Barton Security Company, Mr. William. He'd reported that he had made contact with the three defendants previously, that for a period of 151 days, these folks had been in and around the location and being told to leave, not there with a rental apartment, not there on the property through some kind of a lease agreement. Security guards check the property and vacant units pretty frequently because of illegal activity and folks breaking into units. It was reported that on February the 21st, 2025, Unit 216 had the locks changed and the front door was seen to be secured. The security team and the property manager encountered this defendant and his co-defendants inside the location on the 22nd of February after previously encountering them in other places there at the location and telling them not to return. There are also signs posted saying no trespassing and no loitering. The door of Unit 216, even though on the 21st it had been replaced and locks replaced, on the 22nd, the door was damaged. Its hinges were damaged and broken off as a result of the defendant in front of you and his two co-defendants illegally making entry into that unit. It looks like, based on the criminal history, the defendant in front of you has the criminal history you just heard about. He's got a first offender disposition for fraud in 2019. And it looks like Senegal is the country of origin. We're asking for a $4,000 surety to stay away from that complex in its entirety, have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and have no contact with the co-defendants. And that's going to be position 10, Mr. D-I-E-N-G, Deng. And position 28, last name M-O-D-E-L, Model. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lee, you're not going to be able to go back to that Godby Road address. You understand that?
I do understand. And then can I say anything about what you said or no?
No, I don't want you to get yourself in any more trouble. So I'm gonna give you a signature bond so you can get out, but you cannot go back to that address. If you get out, if you go back there, I'm not going to give you a signature bond if you come back before me. You understand me?
I do understand.
Oh, okay. So for each count, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Godby Road address. No further contact with Mr. Modell or Mr. Ding, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. You're gonna have to make sure that you come back for your next court appearances, Mr. Lee. Otherwise, we're gonna put a warrant out for you. Okay?
Yeah, the thing is, what that means, signature bond, that means if I don't have any money to pay for it, how about oh, I said, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But don't go back to that Godby Road address, sir. Okay.
I won't.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Come on. Captain Murphy. Come on.
Okay.
This is another conflict. This is position number 34, Mr. Sims.
Boy, come on.
And this was the co-defendant with position number 7, I believe. Good afternoon, Mr. Sims. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000932C with simple battery family violence. Mr. Sims, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. Unfortunately, we do not have a conflict attorney available this afternoon. I can either let you wait until tomorrow that we can get someone for you, or you can proceed pro se. That's without the advice of an attorney this afternoon. Well, what would you like for me to do? You're on mute there, courtroom 2.
Proceed.
Okay. Ms. Harvey, is there a history?
No, Your Honor, first arrest.
Okay. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, based on the lack of history and the lack of injuries, we are requesting a $2,000 signature bond with conditions no further contact and stay away. I'm sure you remember the facts from going over with Ms. Cato. And I don't remember, I believe you said no further contact in that case. So we're asking for the same as well.
And remind me again, Ms. Tucker, Ms. Cato and Mr. Sims, the relationship?
They're siblings.
Okay. Oh, right. And this was, we couldn't get in touch with their mother to find out.
Correct.
All right. So, I'm gonna let you sign yourself out, Mr. Sims. It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. At this point in time, no further contact with Ms. Cato. Is this I take it that this is your mother's residence that, where the incident happened, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How old are you?
19.
How old?
19.
And how old is your sister?
I don't know.
All right. Since you're only 19, I'm gonna, if your mother wants you back, I'm gonna allow you to go back to that residence, but you cannot have any contact with your sister at the present time. So no further contact, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. So I'm gonna give you a signature bond so you can sign yourself out, but you're gonna have to make sure that you address these charges at your next hearing. Don't miss your next hearing, otherwise they'll put a warrant out for you, okay?
When is it gonna be?
You'll get notification.
All right.
Okay, all right. Good luck to you, Mr. Sims.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, can you repeat that?
So 2,000, it's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Yeah. All right. Next we'll go with position number 23, Mr. Lemus.
And does Mr. Lemus require a conflict as well?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. All right. He requires the interpreter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Chancey, do you swear or affirm that you will interpret from Spanish to English, English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Lemus. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000-937G with 2 counts of battery family violence.
Señor Limas, usted ha sido acusado en el caso 21 CR 0009 4947G con 2 cargos por golpes y lesiones.
Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 1 arrest, January 6, 2023, out of California for alien inadmissible charge. Nothing further.
Un arresto el 6 de enero del 2023 en California por inmigrante indocumentado.
Your Honor, that's my case. This is an incident from yesterday, February the 23rd at about 2:30 in the morning. Roswell police were called twice to 425 Royal Creek Drive, excuse me. The defendant, along with his long-term live-in partner of about 5 years, had initially spoken to police based on a call about a disturbance. Through the use of a Spanish interpreter. The victim, his name is David Mejia, Mejia.
One moment, please. Su señoría, este es mi caso y hubo un incidente desde ayer, febrero 23, más o menos a las 2:30 de la mañana en Roswell. La policía fue dirigida al 425 de Royal Creek Drive. El acusado con su pareja de largo tiempo, de más o menos 5 años, habían inicialmente llamado a la policía basado en un tipo, habían tenido un tipo de problema. A través de un intérprete en español, la víctima se identificó como David Mejía.
Thank you. The victim reported that there was an argument related to infidelity. Notes from police indicate that the two individuals were separated for the night in order to figure out their situation the next day once the defendant in front of you was no longer so intoxicated.
Gracias. La víctima informó que hubo una discusión relacionada con la infidelidad. Las notas de policiales indican que los dos individuos fueron separados durante esa noche y para descifrar la situación al día siguiente, una vez que el acusado em, no estuviese más bajo los efectos del alcohol.
Unfortunately, police were called again to the same location at about 3:31 in the morning. This time, again, on an argument call. Now the victim, Mr. Mejia, was seen to be bleeding from his mouth as a result of an injury.
Desafortunadamente, la policía se llamó de nuevo para regresar a las 3:31 de la mañana. Esta vez no hubo otra discusión y la víctima, el señor Mejía, fue visto sangrando de la nariz, de su boca, como resultado de una lesión.
Again, a translator was used to assist. And Mr. Mejia, the victim, reported that as soon as police were gone, the defendant had punched him in this face. He was seen to have swelling to his head as well as a busted lip and bloody mouth.
De nuevo, el traductor fue usado para asistir y el señor Mejía, la víctima, informó que tan pronto se fue la policía, el acusado lo había abofeteado en la cara. Se vio que tenía una inflamación en la cabeza, al igual que un labio cortado con una boca sangrante.
The victim also reported that he had been bitten in his scalp.
La víctima también informó que había sido mordido en em, la base de la cabeza.
At that time, the defendant was placed under arrest.
En ese momento, el acusado fue arrestado.
Your Honor,
Perdón, the interpreter needs to correct something in Spanish. La mordida la había recibido en el cuero cabelludo. Thank you, Madam Allen.
Thank you. Based on the fact that police had responded one time earlier and ordered the defendant to separate and have no further contact, that order was not followed. And when they returned, there were now multiple visible injuries to the victim. We're asking for a $6,000 SOB through pretrial, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, stay away from that location and no contact.
Basado en el hecho de que la policía había respondido a tiempo antes y ordenado al acusado que se separara y que no tuviera más contacto, la orden no se cumplió y no se obedeció y cuando ellos regresaron, habían múltiples y visibles lesiones hechas a la víctima. Estamos pidiendo una fianza bajo firma de $6.000. A través de los servicios previos al juicio, se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas y mantenerse distanciado del lugar y no tener contacto con la víctima.
We did try to reach out to the victim today, but we have not been successful at this point. We'll continue those efforts.
No, tratamos de contactar a la víctima, pero no tuvimos éxito, pero continuaremos tratando de continuar esos esfuerzos.
What is the alleged victim's name again, Miss Allen?
¿Cómo se llama la víctima?
David Mejia,
Mejía.
M-E-J, Mejia, excuse me, M-E-J-I-A.
Would you sound for that person, Miss Chansey, please?
Yes, sir. El señor David Mejía, si está presente en la plataforma de Zoom con nosotros, por favor, prenda su cámara y su micrófono. David Mejía.
It doesn't appear that he's with us. Miss Wills?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client has been here for the past year and a half, with his partner. He is employed as a box packer.
Su señoría, mi cliente ha estado aquí por el último año y medio y con su pareja y él está empleado como en la empacación de cajas.
I would request, I have no opposition to a signature bond, but I would ask for a $3,000 or lower signature bond due to my client's limited criminal history.
Me gustaría solicitar que no tengo oposición a una una fianza bajo firma, pero también quisiera pedir que por una fianza de $3.000 debido a eh, que mi cliente tiene un corto récord criminal.
My client came here or reports that he came to the United States seeking asylum, and he has very limited resources. Yeah, he has very limited resources.
Mi cliente vino aquí a los Estados Unidos buscando asilo y él tiene ingresos muy limitados, por eso, debido a eso, a que tiene recursos limitados.
But he does seem to have a good relationship with his employer. If he is not allowed to return home, I would ask that he be allowed a one-time police escort to get his belongings.
Él se lleva muy bien con su jefe, con su empleador, y si él no se le permite regresar a la casa, solicito que se le permita ir con una escolta de oficial policía a recoger sus pertenencias personales una vez.
That is all.
Eso es todo.
It will be, for each charge, will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Será se le cobrará una fianza de $2.000 bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio, lo que dará un total de $4.000 de fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1.
No further contact with the alleged victim and stay away from the Rural Creek Drive address.
No tener contacto alguno con la víctima alegada y mantenerse distanciado de la dirección de Royal Creek Drive.
Back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings.
Puede regresar una vez en ese lugar, esa dirección, con un oficial de la fuerza del orden para retirar sus pertenencias personales.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Prohibidas quedan el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas, mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, Mr. Lemus.
Buena suerte, señor Limas.
¿Una pregunta? ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Can I ask a question? Miss Wills.
Yes, he can ask a question.
¿Puede usted hacer una pregunta?
Pues la pregunta es de que ahorita, por el momento, ¿cuánto es en total que tengo que pagar? Porque solo tengo $1,000. Pues tendría que conseguir el resto del dinero.
So what is the total? Because I only have $1,000 and I will have to get the rest.
It's a signature bond. You're not required to pay any money.
Es una fianza bajo firma. No se requiere que usted pague ningún monto de dinero.
Oh, okay.
No, no denial.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have next.
Next, we have position number 18, Mr. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gonzalez. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000-947G with 2 counts of battery family violence and 1 count of battery against a female who is pregnant.
Buenas tardes, señor González. Usted ha sido acusado en el caso 23R 000-947G con 2 cargos de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar y un cargo de golpes y lesiones contra una mujer embarazada.
Their history, Ms. Harvey?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Harvey?
One arrest, May 16th, 2024, with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Texas for alien inadmissible charge, and nothing further.
Hay un arresto del 16 de mayo del 2024 en la aduana de los Estados Unidos en el área de protección de fronteras en Texas por inmigrante indocumentado y nada más, su señoría.
All right, the state is asking for a $2,000 good bond on the first count of battery family violence.
Muy bien, la fiscalía está pidiendo $2,000 de fianza bajo firma en el primer cargo por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
2,000 on the second battery family violence.
$2,000 por el segundo cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
And 1,000 on the battery against a pregnant female for a total of $5,000 good bond.
Y $1,000 por el cargo de golpes y lesiones contra una mujer embarazada por un total de $5,000.
With conditions no further contact with the victim, Kaylin Arenas.
Con las condiciones de que no tenga ningún contacto alguno con la víctima Kaylin Arenas
And to stay away from 2265 Perry Boulevard, apartment 63 in Atlanta.
y que se mantenga distanciado de la dirección 2265 Perry Boulevard de apartamento 63 en Atlanta.
The facts allege that this defendant got angry when the victim was on the phone.
Los hechos alegan que este acusado se enojó cuando la víctima estaba hablando por teléfono.
This victim is pregnant with his child and they were living together.
La víctima está embarazada con su hijo y estaban viviendo juntos.
This defendant put his hands around her neck and began choking her, causing visible bruising to the neck.
El acusado le puso sus manos alrededor de su cuello y empezó a ahorcarla, causando moretones visibles en el cuello.
He then bit her on her bottom lip, causing it to bleed, swell, and bruise.
y después la mordió en su labio inferior, causando sangrado, inflamación y amoretonamiento.
He then grabbed her by the leg and tried to kick her out of the house.
Y después la tomó de la pierna y trató de echarla de la casa.
And was throwing her things outside of the house.
Y estuvo tirando las pertenencias de ella fuera de la casa.
Victim is 5 weeks pregnant with his child.
La víctima tiene un embarazo de 5 semanas con el hijo de él.
We attempted to call the victim, but were unable to leave a message.
Tratamos de llamar a la víctima, pero no pudimos dejar un mensaje.
But based on the extreme violence in these facts, we're asking for that $5,000 total good bond.
Pero basados en la violencia extrema de estos hechos, estamos solicitando por una fianza de $5,000
With conditions no further contact and to stay away.
con condiciones de no tener más contacto y mantenerse distanciado. I'm sorry, fianza bajo firma.
Who's representing Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. McLean?
¿Quién representa?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Humberto Gonzalez is 32 years old.
El señor Humberto González tiene 32 años, su señoría.
He has a high school education.
También tiene educación de escuela secundaria.
For the last 7 months, he's been working for what I would refer to as a regionally famous, I've seen their name on trucks, electric company.
Por los últimos 7 meses, él ha estado trabajando por lo que yo refería a una famosa compañía regional que la he visto trabajar en sus camiones como compañía eléctrica.
For 5 years prior to the last 7 months, he's worked in telecommunications, repairing telephones and other telecommunications devices.
En los 5 años anteriores, por los últimos 7 meses, él ha trabajado en telecomunicaciones reparando teléfonos y otros aparatos de telecomunicación.
He tells me that the May 16th, 2024 arrest was resolved in his favor at the time and
Go ahead,
anticipates
sir.
problems from it.
Él me dice que el arresto del 16 de mayo de 2024 se resolvió a favor de él y anticipa no tener problemas con él.
I did tell him about how court works in terms of if the alleged victim was not on the Zoom, that he needed to understand likely conditions. And so we have discussed what no contact means.
Yo le dije a él cómo funciona el tribunal en lo que se refiere a una víctima alegada cuando no está presente en la plataforma de Zoom y de que él necesita entender que pueden imponerse condiciones y eso es lo que significa el no tener más contacto.
So since he is working, I believe he won't have any problem having a place to live.
Debido a que él está trabajando, creo que no tendrá ningún problema encontrar un lugar a donde vivir.
We would ask the court to consider a signature bond, Your Honor.
Solicitamos a usted, señoría, que considere una fianza bajo firma,
As this is almost like a first arrest.
porque en esto es casi su primer arresto.
Sorry for the redundancy.
Perdón por ser redundante.
Ms. Tucker, will you give me the name of the alleged victim again, please?
Yes, it's Kaylin, Cailen, Arenas, Arenas.
Can you sound for that person, Miss Chansey, please?
Yes, sir. Señora Kaylan Arenas, si se encuentra en la plataforma con nosotros, por favor, prenda su cámara y micrófono para hablar con el juez. Kaylin Arenas.
Does not appear that she's with us.
No parece estar con nosotros.
For each charge, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Para cada cargo será una fianza de $2,000 bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio, lo que da un total de $6,000 de fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1.
No further contact with the alleged victim and stay away from the incident location.
No debe tener contacto alguno más con la víctima alegada y manténgase distanciado de el lugar de la residencia donde ocurrió el accidente.
He can go back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings.
Usted puede regresar al lugar en solo una ocasión cuando con un escolta de la fuerza del orden para retirar sus pertenencias personales.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Buena suerte, señor González.
Okay. Do we need Ms. Chancey for any other cases this afternoon?
I can't think of any.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Chancey. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Next, we
We have
have
next.
position number 20, Mr. Graham.
Good afternoon, Mr. Graham. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000930F with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms.
Yes,
Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 2 cycles. Last arrest was May 24th of 2024 for aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That is open under case number 24 PI 003676. Nothing further.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from February the 22nd at about 3:20 in the morning. Police were called to 1789 McClelland Avenue in East Point, apartment 6 specifically. They relocated to the address and met with the victim. Her name is Kayla McDonald, or McDowell, excuse me, Kayla McDowell. She's here on the Zoom, Your Honor. She previously dated this defendant's brother. So this is not a DV arrest, but it is adjacent. She called the police and reported that someone had arrived to her home at about 3:15 in the morning. They started banging on the door and they used an object to cover her Ring camera. That's when she called 911. She reported that this defendant was on the property demanding to be able to pick up the belongings of his brother, who is her ex, Rashad Graham. The victim had put his things in a bag outside at the steps before anyone had shown up. So there was no reason for this defendant to be banging on the door. Police spoke to the defendant, Mr. Graham. He said he was there to get his things. He said he argued with his brother and got an Uber to the location to get his things. And he admitted he was upset and that he had ripped the Ring camera off the doorway of the victim's residence and thrown it. Surveillance actually showed him arrive, cover the Ring camera, and then of course it stops. And the Ring camera was not on the door when police arrived. The defendant does have an open aggravated assault. He currently has a $25,000 surety bond. We did speak to the victim today. She corroborated the information in the police documents. She said that this is her boyfriend's brother, that they don't live together. She's not received her camera back, and she wants no contact and stay away. So we're asking for a $2,000 surety, Your Honor. Stay away from that location, no contact with Mrs. Kayla McDowell, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And that's 1789 McClelland Avenue, apartment 6. And if you'd sound for Mrs. McClelland, please. I'm sorry, Mrs. McDowell. Too many mix.
Ms. McDowell, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. You, of course, do not have to, but if you would like to, I will need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, it doesn't appear that she wishes to address the court this afternoon. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, thank you. Jaden Graham is 22 and he lives on Kenmore Street, so he won't have any need to go to McClellan Avenue. He graduated from Washington High School here in Atlanta and went on to Kennesaw State University, where he has completed some studies, but not all. He has a child who's 3 years old. He has worked for an exterminating company doing pest control. He does the spraying, practical work, not just the administrative. He had been unemployed for over a year before that, but was very particular about waiting for a career type job and just kept looking. So he got family to sponsor his job hunting and was very patient with that. He would ask the court to consider a signature bond. He does have family here, of course. He's got family he gets along with too. And he's got family here and stable mail address. And we'd ask the court to consider signature bond under these circumstances.
Okay, Ms. McDowell, I saw you come on camera. I don't know if that meant that you wanted to speak to the court or not, but I'll give you that opportunity if you would like to speak to the court.
Hey, yes, I just wanted to say
Okay,
that
Ms. McDowell, hold on 1 second for me. Can you raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am?
yes.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Go ahead. What would you like to tell the court?
I just wanted to say that the apartment is actually apartment 5, not 6. That was it.
Okay. All right. It'll be $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. McDowell. Stay away from the incident location address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Graham.
Next, we got Mr. McFarland, position number 20, 25, and 26.
Good afternoon, Ms. McFarland. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000950Y with battery, simple battery, criminal trespass and damage to property, and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. And in case 25 CR 000956Y with 3 counts of battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. Last arrest was October 3rd, 2022 for battery out of Fulton County. That case was dismissed. There are convictions from 2022 for fleeing, attempting to elude, driving while license suspended. Also 2022 possession of marijuana less than an ounce. 2017 battery family violence, simple battery family violence, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 2017 criminal trespass and battery family violence, and 2017 DUI. Nothing further.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. You did just hear that this defendant has 2 convictions for battery family violence in his past. I did submit a request to have the case in position 26, which is domestic violence, transferred to the DA, not only as a felony battery, but also as an aggravated assault strangulation. I did not hear a response today. There is at least 3 prior battery family violence cases with different victims in this young man's past. In position 25, this is an incident from June. So when he was picked up on the February incident in position number 26, there was this outstanding warrant. Police were called on June the 1st of 2024 at about 9:30 p.m., excuse me, to 3909 Campbellton Road, Southwest. There, they spoke with 2 sisters, Deasia Martin, who is the main victim in that case, and her sister, Elizabeth Jacobs. Deasia Martin reported that during an argument there at the location, the defendant repeatedly struck her in her face and her head. She retreated to the bathroom where he followed her. Her sister, Mrs. Jacobs, Elizabeth Jacobs, intervened. She told police that she entered the bathroom and saw the defendant repeatedly striking her sister in the face. This was Mrs. Martin's residence. This struggle, when Mrs. Jacobs intervened, moved to the common areas in the home. There were 2 children, the children of Mrs. Jacobs, present at this time. At that point, this defendant struck Mrs. Jacobs multiple times in her head and started throwing items around the house. He then made his way outside, where he picked up an object and threw it through the front window of the location, damaging it. Mrs. Martin was seen to have injuries to her face and her head, swelling and bruising to the right side of her face and her head as a result of repeatedly being struck. So you have in front of you in this position, number 25, two counts of battery on Deasia, a simple battery for striking Mrs. Jacobs, criminal damage for the damage of the window by throwing an object through it, and then cruelty in the 3rd degree for the 2 children who were present. We did speak to both women today. They confirmed what happened, and Mrs. Martin actually reported that she sustained a fracture on the left side of her face. That means this case is also applicable to be transferred as a felony, because that's an aggravated battery, Your Honor. The defendant did have a 2022 battery felony upgrade that was dismissed by the DA against another victim named Jemiah Thomas for causing a black eye and striking her and busting her lip. And then those 2 prior battery convictions out of Paulding County, one in 2015 and one in 2016. He was allowed to plea both at the same time. We spoke to the sister in this case, Mrs. Jacobs, who also reiterated and corroborated what happened in front of her children. They both asked for no contact and for the defendant to stay away from where they live. Mrs. Jacobs also confirmed that she walked into the bathroom to intervene, and the defendant had her sister sitting on the toilet, repeatedly punching her in the face, and that her children were present. In this case, we're asking, Your Honor, for a $10,000 surety, stay away from the location. Specifically, that's on Campbellton Road, 3909 Campbellton Road Southwest. Have no contact with Elizabeth Jacobs or Deasia Martin, and her name is spelled Dasja. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. If you'd like, I can move to the next case.
Yes, please.
The case in position number 26, police were called on the 22nd of February, 2 days ago, at about 1:40 in the morning. Specifically, they were called to 2225 Fern Valley Drive in South Fulton. The initial call to the police discussed a firearm discharge. When they got to the scene, they could hear yelling coming from inside of that location. They also located 4 shell casings outside in front of that residence. At the front door of the residence, police actually observed this defendant on top of the victim. Her name is Alasia Taylor. He was ripping hair from her head. She had multiple braids ripped from her head. There were other people there present witnessing this. No No firearm was found in the vehicle out in front of the location, but that was all police were able to search and look for. The victim, Mrs. Taylor, was described as having lacerations to her neck, as well as baldness from parts of her head, and bruising on her mouth, Your Honor. We did speak to the victim today. She reported that she and the defendant are in a relationship, share a child, and that they live together in Macon, Georgia. She says she doesn't know what happened. She has no memory of it at all, and that they've never been violent before or had a violent issue in the past. She's not in fear and wants to continue contact. If Your Honor would sound for Mrs. Taylor. In this case, we're asking for a $15,000 surety. Absolutely no contact with Ms. Taylor. Stay away from wherever she may be living, including that address where police responded, 2225 Fern Valley Drive, and no drugs, alcohol, and weapons. And again, this should not only be an aggravated assault strangulation. The warrant specifically states that police were told he strangled her and that she had marks on her neck. But this is also a felony based on his prior multiple convictions for batteries against other partners. Thank you.
Let me start with Miss Martin or Miss Jacobs. If either of those ladies are on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. And if Miss Taylor is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, Tequan McFarland is 29 years old. His address is on a residential street in Macon. His phone numbers are from Macon, 478 numbers. So he's been in Georgia all his life. He went to Westlake High School. He went to technical college studying diesel mechanics. He now does lawn care and transportation services, self-employed in both areas. He would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond or the lowest possible surety bond in this case, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I would, since Mrs. Taylor didn't decide to chime in this afternoon, multiple jail calls where this defendant reaches out to her include multiple admissions and actually their conversation about her being strangled. He apologizes, and she tells him, that's what you said the last time. You said you'd never do it again. So although she reported to our victim advocate that she had no memory of what happened and that there'd never been violence, in a very short statement, not only did she confirm that she was strangled while talking to him on the phone when he apologized, but she reported that the last time you did it, you said you were sorry and you wouldn't do it again. Thank you.
Mr. McLean, Mr. McFarland has his hand up. Do you need to address him before I give my bond?
Any question he's got about how it works, I can handle after court. He can call me at 612-5215.
Okay, position 25. For each of the batteries, it will be $1,000 good bond. For each of the other charges, it will be a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $4,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Martin or Ms. Jacobs. Stay away from the Campbellton Road address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. For position number 26, for each of the battery family violence counts will be a $2,000 good bond. Makes for a total of a $6,000 good bond. Stay away from the Fern Valley Drive address. No further contact with Ms. Taylor. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Did we get all that, Ms. Bridgewater?
I have it, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, just for clarification purposes, the statement by the defense counsel is that this young man lives in Macon with the victim. Mrs. Taylor, his booking address is actually this incident location address where they've been staying. So we would request that the order include whatever his current address is in Macon, because that's not provided as part of the jailing information, but also the incident address that you just stated.
Okay.
Didn't say he lived with
so-
anybody. Have a Macon address.
So at this point, he should have no further contact with Ms. Taylor. So that contact that cannot be if he's living with her in either Macon or at the Fern Valley Drive address. He can't be around her. So if he needs to get his belongings, I'm happy to give him a one-time police escort to either of those addresses to get belongings, but he can only go to those addresses with a police escort. And at this point in time is to have no contact with Ms. Taylor whatsoever.
Understood.
Okay, so just so we're clear on that. All right, Mr. McFarland, good luck to you, sir.
Next, we got position number 32, Mr. Rooks.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Rooks. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000952D with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers and possession, display, or use of identification of another without their consent. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 4 cycles. Last arrest was July 31st, 2024 for simple battery and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Sentence on that case, August 15th, 2024 to 12 months probation. And nothing further.
Sally?
Thank you, Your Honor. That simple battery, family violence, and obstruction conviction was 24 CR 005-379D. He's currently on probation for that case, as well as 24 CR 001-667D, which is a battery family violence conviction. Same disposition date, August of 2024, on probation. He's also on first appearance for a new aggravated battery in 25 PI 001-468. This is a call on the 22nd of February at 6:45 p.m. to 445 Markham Street Southwest. Police were responding to the location because of a complaint. There was someone there illegally parking vehicles. They responded and made contact with the defendant, who fled on foot around the backside of an apartment complex. He tried to hide in a vacant apartment and was apprehended by officers. When he was taken into custody, he was in possession of 6 driver's licenses for people, not him, 2 Social Security cards, a credit card, and a debit card. He said he found those items over there in the parking area. We're asking for based on the fact that he's got 2 cases he's being supervised for and a new case, we're asking for a $6,000 surety to stay away from that location at 445 Markham Street Southwest, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And Your Honor, the way that I charged this case, just for full candor, it is a misdemeanor, but these are arguably felony cases, Your Honor.
Wells?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Rooks is 26 years old. He is a native of Atlanta. Prior to his arrest, he did have a temporary job through a staffing agency where he was working at the YMCA. He will qualify for our services to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He also reports that he's currently enrolled in a GED program so that he can obtain his certificate for high school. My client does deny the allegations as alleged, and denies that the backpack belonged to him. So he had no intent to defraud anyone or take anyone's identity or anything of that nature. I would ask for a signature bond. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask for the lowest surety bond that you're willing to give him.
All right, for each charge, it'll be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Markham Street address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Rooks.
Excuse me, Your Honor, what position was this?
32.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
And that's $1,000 total?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Who do we have next? You're on mute, courtroom two, if you're speaking there.
Number 19, Mr. Goods.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Goods. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000926A with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is your history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. One arrest from February 5th, 2021 out of Fulton County for a DUI. That is open under 24 CR 002457Y. And nothing further.
Alan? You're on mute there.
Thank you. I apologize. The defendant also on the GCIC for him has a failure to appear for February of this year. This is a call on February the 22nd between 7 and 9:30 p.m. at 1993 Bent Creek Way Southwest. The defendant was involved in an altercation, an argument with the victim, Emery Buckness. That's Emery. Last name is Buckines. Police responded to the location about a dispute. There, they observed the defendant standing near the victim's vehicle, which is a 2018 Jeep Compass. Once the defendant saw police, he began walking away. Police spoke to the victim, who reported that after an argument, he went outside and realized that the defendant had taken a dumbbell, 25-pound dumbbell, and thrown it through the windshield of his vehicle there. Police observed the damage, and they located the companion dumbbell inside the residence there at 1993 Bent Creek Way. The defendant refused to speak to police at that time. We've tried to get in touch with the victim and haven't been successful yet today, but we're asking for a $2,000 surety, Your Honor, no contact with Mr. Buckness, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. He does have that open DUI. We would request a SAET or ADET.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, thank you. Jaden Goods has been in Georgia for 6 years, so he's getting to be pretty local. Has a Greenwood Lane address. So I don't know how far away that is from Bent Creek, but it's not the instant location. And he went to high school at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, a technical high school in Baltimore. He's 26, and like I said, he's been here 6 years. He is keeping up with open DUI case, and he says the failure to appear was a misunderstanding. And he says that the Walmart deli is where he works now, and he worked for 6 years for the TSA, the airport safety people, for 6 years prior to that. He would ask the court to consider a signature bond. His dad might be on Zoom, might not, depending on whether he had the ability to get away from work. Thank you.
Mr. McLean, your client has his hand up.
It's probably a procedural question about bond, I would think. Mr. Goods, we've covered the information we normally cover in these hearings.
Still wants to talk to you, Mr. McLean.
Okay, could we have a break, Your Honor, where he goes over to the phone and calls extension 25215?
Mr. Goods, do you need to speak in private with Mr. McLean before I announce your bond?
No, thank you. It's okay.
It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Emery Buckines. Stay away from the Bent Creek Way address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I guess he's gonna have to clear up that FTA before he gets out of custody. Good luck to you, Mr. Goods.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts.
And this is Preston Roberts, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Roberts. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000951G with simple battery against a police officer and 2 counts of criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor, 29 cycles, November 4th. Last arrest, November 4th, 2024, out of Fulton County for possession of cocaine. That case was dismissed. Defendant appears to have an open case out of Fulton County for possession of tools, burglary in the first degree, and criminal trespass. That case number is 24 PI 000128. In addition, there are convictions from 2024 for theft by shoplifting, 2018 criminal trespass, 2014 burglary in the first degree, 2013 forgery, 2012 theft by receiving stolen property, 2011 battery, and at least 7 other convictions, Your Honor, in history, and nothing further.
Your Honor, this is a incident from February the 22nd. Specifically, police were called by the landlord at the location. It's 642 Seminole Avenue Northeast. There are multiple units at that location. Michael Bush is the landlord. He reported that the defendant kicked in the front door of his unit where he lives, apartment B, and then used a brick to gain entry by breaking the glass in the front door of the unit for apartment C, which should be vacant. While police were on scene, they detained the defendant, and during his arrest, he spit in the face of Officer Jones 2 times. We're asking for a $6,000 surety, Your Honor. That's $2,000 on each count. Stay away from the location at 642 Seminole Avenue, Northeast. No contact with Mr. Bush, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. The officer from pretrial did note that this gentleman has an open burglary case in 24 PI 000128. He eventually got a UJR through the jail and was ordered to stay away from 422 Seminole Avenue, which is the incident location for the burglary from last year in April. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Roberts is 43. He has a GED. He was in the 12th grade and finished with the GED. He has some college in the area of culinary arts and also HVAC, 2 disparate areas. So he's got skills there. He works for works loading freight for a freight handling company and has done so for 10 years. It is family owned, so he hasn't lost his job. We would ask the court to consider as low a bond as possible under these circumstances, including, if possible, signature bond.
Mr. Roberts has his hand up, Mr. McLean.
Mr. Roberts, is it a procedural question about how bond works, or do you want to talk about the facts of the case, which we recommend against?
Try to say it was the same place. It's not the same place on Seminole.
Facts of the case, I get it. We would recommend to you, Mr. Roberts, that we not discuss the facts of the case. That's really for your trial, or if you wish for it to be in your plea bargaining later, if you want to participate in that.
Yeah, I think you misunderstood, Mr. Roberts. Miss Allen didn't say it was the same place. She said, I think that it's close to the same. It was a different address than this address. I think that's what you're trying to tell me. Is that right? Okay. For the simple battery, it's going to be a $3,000 good bond. For each of the other charges will be a $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $5,000 good bond. Stay away from the 642 Seminole Avenue address. No further contact with Mr. Bush, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Roberts.
Next, we have position number 30, Mr. Robertson. Robertson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Riverson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000949H with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor. 38 cycles out of South Carolina, 1 out of North Carolina. Last arrest was November 9th, 2023 out of South Carolina for telephone and unlawful communication. Disposition states there was a non-conviction. There are convictions, several convictions out of South Carolina. 2021, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. 2020, open container, possession of meth or cocaine. 2019, possession of marijuana. 2003 convictions from 2018 for assault and battery. 2015, driving under suspension, hit and run. 2014, disorderly conduct. 2012, unlawful carrying of a weapon, and at least 8 other convictions, Your Honor, all out of South Carolina. Nothing further.
Your Honor, this is an incident from the 23rd, so yesterday at about 12 a.m. Police were called to 225 Otley Drive. There they met with the victim, Antonio Cheatman, Cheatman. He reported that he had been paid to work security at the location. It's actually the Atlanta Recovery Center. He and the defendant, who was also staying there, had been hired to do some security work at an event. He does not know the defendant, but while they were waiting following the event to be paid, the defendant became upset because he was made to sit in the bed of a truck or had to sit in the bed of a truck during that process at the end. The defendant punched victim Cheatham in the mouth, causing his mouth to bleed, and made threats to him. He was in possession of a knife when he was arrested. His description was given by the victim who called 911 and then went to security there at the location. Officers responded and saw the defendant matching the description. He told police that he'd gotten into a fight and that he'd been assaulted by Mr. Cheatham because Mr. Cheatham spit at him. What's interesting is that police then saw that the defendant was trying to show them that he'd been spit on, and they could see blood on his clothing, he said, came out of the victim's mouth. And of course, that would lead police to believe that the victim had already been struck in the mouth by this defendant before any spit happened. He was arrested and taken into custody, Your Honor. The defendant does have most of his history out of South Carolina and North Carolina. This is the first arrest out of Georgia. His last conviction, which was a felony in South Carolina, was 2021 for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He's got at least 5 prior assault convictions, multiple convictions for DUI, and failure to appear, Your Honor. We're asking for a $2,000 surety. He has no ties to the Georgia location and was staying at the recovery center. No contact with the victim in this case, and to stay away from that location, the recovery center at 225 Otley Drive, Northeast. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And if you'd sound for Mr. Cheatman, thank you.
Mr. Cheatman is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean.
Honor, Mr. Cleveland Robertson Jr. Is 42 years old. His house burnt down in South Carolina last year, or about a year and a half or so ago, somewhere in that area of time, and he moved to Atlanta. He does list a mailing address, which is a program, 201 Washington Street, and that is a reliable mailing address for him to get court notices. So he's been here for a short time, and he would like to ask the court. He understands what his record is. He works in construction, renovation, home repair. He works also through a temporary agency, whatever comes up. He went to high school, Richland Northeast High School, in that Columbia area. We'd ask the court to consider a signature bond, or if that's not possible, $1,000 surety.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Motley address. No further contact with Mr. Cheatman. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Well, what was the stay?
225 Motley.
MOT. Okay, gotcha.
It's
Thank you.
Otley, Ottley. I apologize. Otley Drive.
Thank you. Okay.
That's the Atlanta Recovery Center.
Next, we got position number 21, Mr. Griffin.
Morning, Your Honor.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Griffin. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000933A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Harvey?
I'm sorry, Judge, which position?
21, Mr. Griffin.
Okay, no, Your Honor, first arrest.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is also an incident from yesterday, the 23rd, at about 11 a.m. Police were called to 643 Gillette Avenue Southwest. The victim in this case is Miss Tiffany Tate, T-A-I-T-T. She is the girlfriend of this defendant's mom. So his current girlfriend, mother allowed him to stay with her. This is her daughter's boyfriend who's sitting in front of you. Police were called in reference to a 911 call about a fight. The victim reported she lives there with the defendant, that they argued over the last 3 days about a cell phone. Once she had the defendant return her cell phone, he asked her if she was going to go get a TPO against him. And when she told him she planned on doing so, he punched her in her face. Mrs. Tate reported to police that she specifically told the defendant she was not going to respond to him with violence. She was going to call 911, and that's when he fled the location. He was actually seen waving police down as they drove up to the location and said he wanted to tell his side of the story. We spoke to Mrs. Tate today. She said that this young man is the boyfriend of her daughter, and she'd allowed him to stay with her. She confirmed what happened. She reported that the defendant is, in general, very disrespectful, continues to touch and mess with things that are not his. She is fearful at this point now that she's been physically assaulted, and she is requesting no contact and to stay away. We'd ask for a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Stay away from that location, 643 Gillette Avenue Southwest. No contact with the victim, Mrs. Tiffany Tate. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And if you'd sound for Ms. Tate.
Ms. Tate, I see you on the line. If you wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Yes, he's
okay. Hold, Miss Tate. Hold on, Miss Tate. I'm
okay.
gonna need you to come on camera for me, please.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
He's not my daughter's boyfriend. Ooh. He's not my daughter's boyfriend. He's my daughter's boyfriend's best friend.
Boyfriends. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's basically my son-in-law's best friend. They went to school together.
Okay.
Yeah, and when they lost their apartment, I agreed to take him in, and we did good at first, but then he started touching my things, and when I asked him to stop, he would get upset. We would get into arguments. He would threaten to call his family, his brother that's in the Army, or his niece to come and hurt me. He stole a cell phone that my sister gave me. When I called police, he told police that I gave it to him. So like I just I just don't want him around me anymore. I don't even feel safe with him over there.
Okay.
And then I've also, if you guys would look, you guys would see that I've called police multiple times back to back because of me being threatened, and they couldn't do anything because I didn't have any proof. So they were saying it's a he say, she say. And I've also told him to ask him to stop bringing drugs into the house. He would bring marijuana and smoke it. I don't smoke at all, so I asked him to stop bringing it in here, and he keeps bringing it in here.
All right. Does he have any things at your home that he's going to have to retrieve?
Yes. So that day that he ran away and the police put him in jail, he put a lot of he put his stuff outside on the porch. So if he has to come get him, I would ask if a police can be present while he get his stuff.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Tate. I appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. McLean?
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Tate. Stay away from the Gillette address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Griffin.
All right. Our last two, positions 10 and positions 28. These are the ones that need an interpreter, but they're willing to give it a shot. If I can, come on up. This is position number 28, Modell. He's a conflict too. And we didn't have a conflict attorney.
So, Your Honor, these gentlemen are the co-defendants with position number 24, who went pro se. This is related to the Chelsea Gardens apartments, and these defendants being located there. Spoken with by security and the property manager on numerous occasions, and the vacant apartment they were found in had just had the door and locks replaced, and they'd broken in using that door. They don't have representation, and we don't have anyone to interpret for them, so I'm not sure how we can properly go forward right now.
Let me see if they can understand me. Mr. Modell, it was my understanding, can you understand me, sir?
Sure.
Okay. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings.
Right.
We do not have an attorney here today to represent you, okay? You can either wait till tomorrow or you can proceed today. What would you like to do?
Today.
Okay, it appears to me that Mr. Modell is able to respond to my questions appropriately. As such, I believe that he's understanding what I say. Mr. Modell, if you do not understand something that's going on, you let me know, okay? All right. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000943C with 2 counts of criminal trespass. You understand that? Ms. Harvey, is there a history?
He has one prior arrest, Your Honor, from August 30th, 2023, out of California for alien removal charge, and nothing further.
Okay. Ms. Allen, anything to add?
No, Your Honor. On the co-defendant, we asked for a surety bond. We'll be asking for the same for this gentleman, a stay away from the location, which is 2135, Godby Road. That is the Chelsea Gardens apartments. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
It does not appear that Mr. Modell has a history, except for that one in California. As such, I'm going to give him the same bond as I gave Mr. Lee. For each charge, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Dang or Mr. Lee. Stay away from that Godby Road address. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Mr. Modell, I am gonna let you sign your own bond to get out, but you're gonna have to make sure to show back up for your next court appearance,
Thank you.
okay? If you don't, you're welcome. If you don't show up, they're gonna put a warrant out for you, okay? So you need to make sure that you come back for your next court appointment, your next hearing, and that you don't go back to that Godby Road address, okay? Okay, if you go back there and they pick you up, again, I'm not gonna give you a signature bond the next time, okay?
The last one, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. Good luck to you.
Was it 2 counts of, was that 2 counts of trespassing?
Yes, well, I have 2 counts. They're next to each other on the calendar. As opposed to, you see those?
Yeah, no, I only see one, unless it's on 2 different pages.
There are 2.
Oh, well.
They're right next to each other on the calendar as opposed to one being on top of the other.
I'm sorry, yes, I'm looking, I see it, yep.
Okay, all right.
All right, next we have position number 10, Mamadou Dang.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Dang. I want to see if can you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Dang, you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We do not have a conflict attorney to represent you are you representing him, Mr. Chitaya?
I am, Your Honor.
Oh,
Since there's
okay.
no interpreter, I couldn't talk to him.
Okay, so it's up to you, Mr. Chitaya. Do you want, it appears that he can understand what I'm saying, but it's up to you. Do you want me to wait until you can adequately speak with him through an interpreter?
I can't gauge how well he understands me or how responsive he'll be to my questions. I think I'd rather wait to get an interpreter.
Okay, and it's we'll need, let's see, for tomorrow, just to make sure, it's great. Miss Grace, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna need an interpreter that speaks WOLOF, it's my understanding.
Okay, WOLOF.
OF.
Okay.
Yes, I believe he's from Senegal, so let's see if we can get that interpreter for tomorrow so that Mr. Chataya can properly speak with him.
Yes, sir. And this is position number 10, correct?
That's correct.
Will do, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Dang, I will see you back tomorrow, hopefully with an interpreter.
Excuse me,
Okay?
Judge, this is Miss Lewis. All 3 of them have to have a conflict attorney. The PD never represented none of the 3?
No, Mr. Chataya is representing Mr. Dang, number 10 here.
Oh, he's representing the 10. Okay.
Right, so the other two needed,
okay. I was just trying to make
representation.
note to make sure I was correct.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. So Mr. Dang, we'll see you tomorrow. Let's see, do we have some other announcements? Because we haven't covered everyone in the calendar. What about position number 1?
Yeah.
I had to reset her, Your Honor. I tried to talk to her this morning, but she just wasn't responsive to my questions. So I asked one of my social workers to visit her.
Okay, so we have Miss Adams is a medical reset until tomorrow, 2/24, 2/25, is that right? Okay. Position number 2, Johnny Barnes.
Likewise.
Medical reset for 225 as well. Position 10, we're resetting for tomorrow, 225 as well. Position 14, Deshae Gibson.
He's, that's a reset too, behavioral reset.
Okay, that's reset for 225 as well. Position 29. Henson.
We believe he had made his bond, but we were awaiting confirmation.
Yeah, he bonded out.
Okay, he's been released. Okay, does that cover everyone? I think so.
I think so.
Okay. All right, so let's see. Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're ready for us.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is March the 11th. Positions number 1 and 2 are reset till tomorrow. Position number 3 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 4 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 5 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 6 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. 9 is reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial with a co-signer of Jessica Cook. 10 is reset till tomorrow. 11 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 12. What did we say we were going to do with 12?
He was released.
He was released. Thank you. I didn't get that one. Okay. 13 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 14, reset till tomorrow. 15 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. 16 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 17 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 18, reset further notice with a total $6,000 SOB through pretrial. 19, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 20 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 21 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 22 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 23, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial.
Hold on, one second, Ms. Bridgewater. I don't mean to interrupt. Position 22. 22.
Oh, I didn't say, hold on, let me see what I said for 22. I have 22 as a $1,000 good bond.
Is that what you all have?
Yep, and reset with the open 24 CR case that pretrial was monitoring them on and is now surrendered.
Okay, thank you. I apologize, Ms. Bridgewater. You can go ahead.
Okay. So now I'm gonna go to 23 again. It's reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 24 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through the jail. 25 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $4,000 good bond. 26 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $6,000 good bond. 27 is reset further notice with a total $9,000 SOB through pretrial. 28 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through the jail. 29 is reset further notice as the defendant has been released. 30 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 31 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $5,000 good bond. 32, I have it as a total of a $1,000 bond. Was that a good bond?
Okay, so
Yes.
it's on to the SAP calendar for March the 11th. Okay, 33 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial with a cosigner, parental cosigner. Jatrisha Leger, something like that. 34 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 35 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. And position number 36 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Did the fellow named Mendez Gallegos, did his parents send in their response to by email about that coaching?
Who are you asking me, Mr. McLean?
Sure. I just need to know if I need to prod them.
You probably need to prod them, Mr. McLean.
Okay, I'll do that.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
For number 9, Mr. Cook, they mentioned that he bonded out during the hearing.
So,
So
Judge,
do I still need a cosigner for him?
paperwork since he's, yeah, I guess so, since he's already gone, huh?
Okay.
I'll
Well,
change to say that.
okay, if he's already bonded out, then it's fine.
Okay, are there any others?
Well, Judge, position 33, we didn't cover this, but since that's the young woman who's going to be moving with her grandparents to Louisiana, but we didn't add the condition that she be allowed to return home to pick up her things. So can that be added to her bond? I think it's probably in everyone's best interest that law enforcement escorts her to get her belongings.
Okay, that's reasonable. Thank you, Ms. Will. Well, Ms. Bridgewater, if you can add that
One time,
to the conditions for
Okay.
Russell.
Thank you.
Okay. Any others? All right, thank you all. Big calendar today. I appreciate the hard work.
Thank you, everybody.
You all and not me, but yes, it was
Thank
huge.
you.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right,
Thank you.
take care.
All right, bye-bye.